Now we will focus our attention on numbers 25 through 27. Number 25 says, write out the quadratic formula. This question will be on your test. So the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Have that memorized. A looked pretty bad in there, so 4ac. All right, and now we need to use it. Well, for 26 and 27, to use the quadratic formula, you want all terms on one side. So for 26, we would subtract 3x and add 9 to both sides. So that gives us 7x squared minus 3x plus 9 equals 0. A is 7, B is negative 3, and C equals 9. Notice we do not put the variables in there. We don't put an x in there. And so now let's plug into the quadratic formula. Negative b, so that's negative 3, plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared, so b squared, minus 4 times a, which is 7, times c, which is 9, all over 2a, so 2 times 7. And now it's just a matter of simplifying. Might take some time. So we have 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus, and so we have 4 times 7 is 28, 28 times 9 is 252. Well, not all over 14. Well, that's x equals 3 plus or minus negative, is that 243? Negative 243 over 14. Which, 243. So we got x equals 3 plus or minus. We're going to have an I because we have a negative, so we can put the I before or after the square root. Square root of 243. I don't think that's a perfect square. So the square root of 243. I think 3 goes into that 81 times. Well, we know this is a 9 times 9, so we can think of this. So I don't want to put 243. We have the square root of 81 times the square root of 3, all over 14. So x equals 3 plus or minus 9i, because the square root of 81 is 9i, times the square root of 3, all over 14. That is our answer. 27. It says the directions say solve each equation by with the quadratic formula. That's not the best way to solve this, but we'll follow the directions. So in order to use the quadratic formula, you want to get all terms to one side. So we have p squared minus 14 equals 0. And we want to be careful with this. A equals 1. That's the coefficient of the squared term. B is going to equal 0 because there is no linear term. And then C is going to be negative 14. And we can plug that into the quadratic formula. Instead of using x this time, though, we use p equals negative b. Well, b is 0, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 0, minus 4 times a, which was 1, times c, which is negative 14, all over 2a. So p equals, that negative 0 doesn't matter, so we have plus or minus the square root of 0 minus, but that's going to be plus, so 4 times 14. In fact, we could multiply it, but I'm actually going to leave it like this, all over 2, because I can see that this is the square root of 4 times the square root of 14, all over 2. Well, this is 2 root 14 over 2. The 2's simplify, and so we have plus or minus the square root of 14, which we definitely could have gotten to that really quickly if we took the square root of both sides. However, the directions say use the quadratic formula, so we're seeing that that still works even if b is 0. And so make sure you know how to use the quadratic formula.